So, me, Joey Arnold. We're gonna read from this book, Classic Myths to Read Out Loud by William Russell. Do I sound like Ben Stein when I win my money? Don't have my money. Don't have any money. Just have oatmeal. 2019, January 5th, Saturday, 8:12 p.m. PST, LMS, near Seattle. I'm gonna read a story. This one is called Echo and Narcissus. Page 26. About the story. This is one of the many tales in which we see Jupiter's desire to stray occasionally away from his own home and to consort both with mortals and nymphs like fairies on Earth. His wife Juno is suspicious of his philandering, and she punishes those who encourages Jupiter in his wandering way. Your children may think that the punishment in the story is misplaced or overly severe, but harsh and seemingly unjust punishments occur quite commonly in the ancient myths, as we shall see in other stories throughout this book. Approximate reading 11 minutes. Vocabulary and pronunciation. Narcissus, Jupiter, king of the gods, the Roman name for the god that the Greeks called Zeus. Nymphs, spirits who look like beautiful maidens, like fairies, who were in part divine, like Tinkerbell in Peter Pan. Juno, the queen of the gods and wife of Jupiter. The Roman name for this goddess is Hera. Olympus, the mountain, home of the gods, Nemesis, the goddess of retribution and revenge, is named Nemesis. In the days when the great gods and goddesses watched over the earth and cared for its people, there lived some lesser gods too, more than mere mortals, but without the magic powers of gods. Such were the nymphs, those pretty young maidens or virgins. I don't know if they're virgins or not, but they're maidens who lived on earth in the mountains or forests or rivers, but who attended to various gods and goddesses. They attend to the gods and goddesses. There was one dainty nymph that was pretty nifty, named Echo, kind of like a TV show called Dollhouse. Had a person named Echo in it. This Echo, however, was pretty nifty or dainty, and who was such a great chatterbox. I just shattered it. That it was so chattery that it was made out of plastic, not out of plastic. That she was seldom silent, and her love of talking was the cause of the sad misfortune that befell her. Oh, oatmeal. Like me, what am I thinking? Echo, not to be confused with echolocation, was one of the nymphs who served and attended to the needs of mighty Jupiter, king of all the gods on Olympus. Not to be confused with the city near Seattle, Olympus, Olympia. It's a little different. When Jupiter came down to Earth, he did as he did from time to time. The nymphs who served him would keep him company. Ugh. Like a corpicine, corpipine, what's it called when you're guilty of helping somebody murder somebody? Or what do you call somebody who's like kind of like your plus one, like your girlfriend when you're married? what's that animal called? A porcupine, and then a corp. What do you call a dead person? A corpse. What do you call a Salvation Army place? Like a church. A core. All these words are very similar. My head is spinning. Like Jan from the Brady Bunch. Let's knock down the 7-Eleven. No. Hold on. Let's read the whole story first. Then knock down the 7-Eleven. One day, Jupiter set off for the valleys below Olympus to talk to his nymphs, because he's nippy like that, and to join his merry games. They loved to play, and as soon as Juno, not to be confused with that movie with Juno in it, heard of this, he determined to go down into the valley herself and to scold her truant husband if she found him enjoying company of the nymphs. Do you know what that means? I have no idea. You tell me. Comment below or don't. What am I saying? For she was very jealous of their youth and beauty. Very jealous. Drama. When she reached the entrance to the valley, however, she was met by Echo, who, guessing what the angry goddess had come for, and eager to save her Lord Jupiter, Zeus, and her friends from any trouble, began talking to Juno. She began talking to Juno, okay. And talking in order to give the other nymphs time to escape. Like Luke Skywalker, spoiler, in Last Jedi. He was like there and he wasn't there, and he's fighting Kylie and Loren. Giving them time, buying them time, so that they can escape and hide themselves. Ooh. Echo had held the queen in conversation for a long time, chattering like a magpie. Like a magpie. It says magpie. I want pie. Where's my pie? I want pie. Where's my pie? Where's my pie? What's wrong with my teeth? Where's my pie? About everything that came into her mind. Oh, I see. She's talking a lot. Like her mouth was totally full of words. Like a pie. Like you're eating pie. It was no great hardship for her to do this, since she nearly loved the sound of her own voice. Like me. What? And was never at a loss for something to talk about. Juno tried to find an appropriate pause in which to break away, but Echo had so many interesting things to say, and talked so incessantly, that it was impossible to interrupt her. So when at last the pretty chatterbox came to a stop for sheer lack of breath, and Juno seized the opportunity to rush past her. Wow, very polite, huh? Go ahead, just run away. You want to get away? Run away. You gotta wait until the person stopped talking. So she started to rush past her, and she found the valley deserted. All the nymphs had managed to escape by this time, and Jupiter had finished too. Juno then realized how she had been tricked, and in her anger she determined to punish the dainty nymphs in the butt. How? Who had determined or detained her? What's going on here? Oh my, what's going on? So long at she was detained for a long time at the entrance to the valley. With her divine powers, she caused the unfortunate Echo to lose almost entirely that one talent she used most, her ability to talk. It's like Little Mermaid. Oh no. I can't talk now. Come back after the beep. not speak, come back in here when I'm able to talk again. The only words that Echo was allowed to speak hereafter would be the very last words of the last sentence that he heard other people say. Wow. The only thing that she'd be allowed to say would be just the last word of whatever people would say at the end of the sentence of whatever they would say. Just the last word of end of sentences from people. And then only in a faint, distant voice. Poor, unfortunate Echo, because of her concern for her friends, she had been punished so cruelly, and her sorrow was very great. It had always been such a delight. That's why she's called Echo. I get it, because she's an echo. And wow, how is he able to do an echo all around the world with everybody talking at the same time? How is he able to do that? Keep reading. Okay, sorry. I won't get out of line this time. Now she could no longer chatter merely to her friends, and she had to be contented merely to repeat very faintly the last 2 or 3 words of their sentences when they spoke to her. But her friends were very kind to her, and they would often call out a greeting to her from the hillside, so that Echo could gladly repeat the last words and be filled with joy at hearing the sound of her voice. How is he able to imitate the voice of every single person? He must be a really good voice actor. Now it happened that in the same valley there dwelled a beautiful young youthful youth named Narcissus, who had such charm and such dazzling good looks that every maiden who saw him was like, "Are you related to Justin Bieber? Baby, baby, oh." At once, they would all just fall in love with him. But sad to say, Narcissus himself had a cold heart and was quite incapable of feeling love for anyone, human or divine. He did everything in his power to escape his admirers, since he had no desire for their attentions and no love to give them in return. One day Narcissus was wandering through the forest with some of his friends when he stopped to pluck a wild flower and lost sight of his companions. He turned to take the path that he thought they had followed, and in doing so he passed by a tree in which lovely Echo had been resting. The moment she beheld his marvelous beauty, she fell deeply and desperately in love with him, and they lived happily ever after. That didn't happen. Okay, just kidding. So, it probably should have, or maybe not. I don't know, but she fell in love, deeply in love with him, and could not bear for him to be out of her sight. She followed him through the woods, longing to speak and tell him how she felt, but thanks to Juno's wrath, she no longer had the power to do so. She did not make her presence known for fear that he would be angry or would quickly reject her because she could not speak, and so she just watched him following closely but out of his sight. They went on in this way for some time, Narcissus parting the branches in search of his friends, and Echo stealing softly behind him, until the boy suddenly realized that he was lost, and he called out, "Is there anyone here?" Echo, stepping quickly behind a tree, answered, "Here," for she could only repeat the final words what was spoken in her presence. Well, you can imagine Narcissus' surprise, for he thought he was quite alone in this area of the woods. He looked all around, but he couldn't see anyone to whom the voice belonged. Cried out again, "Where are you? Come here." Whereupon Echo responded, "Here." This was bewildering. He could see no one, and yet every cry of his was answered by a voice that seemed quite close by. He went on calling and questioning, and each time Echo answered with his last words. She did not dare to show herself, but she could not help answering. At long last, she decided to take a chance, thinking that he just might be understanding and loving, and he might not be angry with her for secretly following his steps. She came out from behind the trees and ran to meet him. She twined her dainty arms around his neck, trying to express with her accent the love she could not put into words. Alas, Echo's hope were rudely dashed, for Narcissus hated to have anyone show him even the slightest affection. He pushed the lovely nymph aside with a rough hand, and he fled at once into the deepest part of the woods. Poor Echo! His harsh glares and unkind actions had broken her heart. She hid herself in the woods and mourned and grieved, thinking of the beautiful youth whom she loved so much, but whom had treated her so rudely. She wept day and night, and wouldn't touch any food. Sounds like twilight. Before long, she grew pale and thin and began to waste away to a shadow. Wow, she turned into a shadow of her former glory, or literally, she just turned into a shadow. I don't know what it means here, but it's probably a little bit of both. Who knows, right? But as people say, until at last her body vanished altogether, and nothing remained but her voice, which can still be heard today among the hills and the valleys, answering every call. Who are you gonna call? Echo, not the Ghostbusters. What are you thinking? Not 911. As for the cold-hearted Narcissus, he too came to a sad and lonely end. One of the many maidens whom he had so harshly scorned prayed to the gods that Narcissus be punished for tormenting people so, and that prayer was answered. It fell to the goddess Nemesis, who was the goddess of retribution and punishment, to determine his fate. May he, who will not love others, love only himself, she decreed. And that's why he's Narcissus, because he loves himself. And that's the fate. If you don't love others, you love yourself. That's too bad. What happened? Where is my face? Oh, this is tough. This is tough. This is tough stuff. Wow. There's my face. There's my race. Face and race. That doesn't rhyme very well, even though it should. So, it happened one day. Happened one day after tracking some game through the forest for many hours. Narcissus came to a shady spot surrounding a clear, deep pool from which he could quench his thirst as he stooped down to drink. Wow. Drink from it. He was overcome with surprise and delight at the image that appeared on the smooth surface of the water. It was a face, but such a lovely face that he could not take his eyes from it. The longer he looked, the more beautiful the face did seem, and at length he had fallen fast in love with the image in the pool. Yes, Nurse had fallen in love with his own reflection. He spoke to the beautiful image, and its lips parted as though they were answering him, but no sound could he hear. He smiled and faced in the pools, and his pool smiled back. When he beckoned the image to come to him, the image beckoned too. But when he tried to touch it, the lovely face became rippled and blurred and disappeared from view. Poor Narcissus. Although he finally realized that it was his own face that was reflected in the pool, it was a face of such marvelous beauty that he could not tear himself away from the spot. So deep was this passion for his own face and his own fair looks, and so strong the power of his love that he could not resist. He lost all his desire for food or for sleep, and night and day he lay upon the grass, gazing at his own image reflected in the water, and so over time, Narcissus the beautiful, like the dainty Echo, whom he had scorned, gradually wasted away in his body, growing thinner and thinner until he died. When the fair youth had breathed his last, the gods, in pity for his sad fate, transformed his body into a beautiful, sweet, scented flower with a bright, golden center and soft, white petals, which nodded to its reflection in the pool. And to this day, that lovely flower called the narcissus is found by quiet pools, gazing at its image in the water. A few more words. It should now be clear that this myth helped to add the word echo and the name of the flower narcissus to the vocabulary of the modern English. There is, and in addition, the word narcissism, which has lost most of its psychoanalytic identity and has taken on the common meaning of an excessive admiration of oneself. Another character in this story, the goddess Nemesis, also is the source of the English word that is spelled and pronounced just like the goddess's name, Nemesis, and the name of a Star Trek movie, Star Trek Nemesis, with Captain Picard, not Kirk, but Picard, who's a little bit better than Kirk in some ways. A person's nemesis is a rival or an opponent who torments that person. And in the movie, in Star Trek, it ended up being Picard's son. He had like a son. Wow. Spoiler alert. And occasionally brings out his or her defeat. This nemesis was the goddess retribution, and it was her task to maintain a balance between good and evil in the universe. Although she would reward the just as well as punish transgressors, it is only this sense of vengeance that is still associated with her name, while the notion of retribution has been lost in this most common meaning. The word nemesis still carries with it the sense of an outside force who seeks vengeance, just as Nemesis did. That end for that story. And I'll continue it reading tonight, but without the camera. Thank you, and let me know what you think.